All right, everyone, thank you so much for your patience. As you know, the other town hall, which is a very important one, is running over. We apologize for that conflict, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come here. We hope that this information will be helpful and useful to you. I am going to start now. I am Caroline Simpson. I'm a professor in the Department of Physics. I am the Faculty Equity Advisor for the College of Arts, Sciences, and Education, and I'm one of the Associate Directors in the Office to Advance Women, Equity, and Diversity. I'd like to introduce my co-chair now, Heather Russell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Russell, and I am professor in the Department of English and also Senior Associate Dean for the School of Environment, Arts, and Society in the College of Arts, Sciences, and Education. Very pleased to be sharing with you today the results of the COACHE survey. Caroline and I, despite our current roles, are longtime faculty members here at FIU and have had the privilege of co-chairing this committee for the past year. While doing so, we've been working with the Office to Advance Women, Equity, and Diversity, as well as the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success, along with a dedicated university-wide faculty team who I will be officially thanking later. And we worked together this year to help to encourage faculty participation in COACHE to ensure that your voices would be heard.
Thank you, Heather. COACHE, which stands for Collaborative on Academic Careers and Higher Education, is a research practice partnership and network of peer institutions dedicated to improving outcomes in faculty recruitment, development, and retention. Today, we'll be previewing the results of the COACHE survey, and we're going to discuss plans to use the results for the future. There will also be time for questions and answers at the end. Please use the Q&A, and we will get to your questions at the end of the presentation. So as Provost Barton and President Rosenberg are still handling, I assume, questions in the other town hall, we're just going to move straight into the presentation now, and hopefully they, if they have time, they may be able to join us later.
So I'd like to begin by acknowledging and thanking the members of the FIU 2020 COACHE Survey Committee. These are faculty members from across the university: Tay Ansell from the College of Law, Deanne Butchie, who's from the College of Business, John Clark from the Green School of International and Public Affairs, Peter Clark from the College of Engineering and Computing, Joe Chili from the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management, Bill Darrow from the Stemple College of Public Health and Social Work, Jenna Doherty Restrepo from the Wertheim College of Nursing and Health Science, and Jörg Reinhold, the chair of the Faculty Senate, also from the College of Arts, Sciences, and Education. So we wanted to begin by telling you a little bit. Some of you have probably saw some of your college leaders come and give presentation, but we wanted to refresh your memories about what COACHE is. And so COACHE has been around for more than a decade, and it stands for the Collaborative on Academic Careers in Higher Education. It is a research practice partnership that's based out of the Harvard Graduate School of Education. And in fact, COACHE was first formed to figure out why fewer women and faculty of color weren't being tenured. And so that process morphed into COACHE. I'm going to pause right now with the presentation because I have word that President Rosenberg is here and they've just wrapped the vaccine town hall, and we're pleased to welcome him to provide some remarks at this point.
Well, thank you, Heather. Thank you very much. And Susanna, thank you. You know, I think anybody who reads history and who reads change, particularly over the last couple of months and weeks and days, can plainly see that good things aren't going to happen unless we have a firm commitment to making them happen, unless we are far more intentional, unless we are far more purposeful than we have been. And that's certainly one of the lessons that I draw from all that that I've seen and studied in the last couple of months. That's frustrating because, you know, you'd think that the consensus that we have would be enough to guide very positive change at the individual and the structural level, but clearly that's not the case. So we're proud of what we've accomplished as an institution in such a short period of time, and we understand as well that that's very dependent on how our faculty choose to engage and carry out their professional opportunities and responsibilities. It's also important that we insist on a welcoming environment for all faculty. I think that both the provost and I, in many ways, are poster children for welcoming faculty environments. Truthfully, neither of us would be here today if this, at least for us, had not been a welcoming faculty environment. But we recognize that it's not welcoming for everyone. It's not welcoming. It's not equitable in many instances for a lot of individuals, so that they too can pursue their career opportunities and possibilities. That's why we think COACHE is a good return on our investment. Past surveys do show that we've had continuous improvements, but truthfully, we got to do better. We got to do more. We got to do better. And one thing that we do draw, one conclusion that we do draw, is that our diversity does make us stronger. Something that we have known for a long period of time. I mean, people at FIU have not run from diversity. In many ways, we've run to diversity. The challenge is that we still have an awful lot to do. And the provost and his team, Dr. Rose, Dr. Wilson, they've worked hard to foster improvements and to enhance faculty morale. And so I want to thank you for your commitment and to remind you that we want to do more. We got to do more, and we're going to do more and better. And you're the backbone of the university. You really set the tone. You teach thousands of students every year. You provide mentorship and leadership to so many of your peers on one hand, as well as our students on the other. And it's through that mentorship and through that example that we have become a fast rising, up and coming, leading 21st century public university. But we want to do more. That's why we're here. We got to do more. That's why we're here. And so I'm really happy that you are all getting together to have those discussions. And of course, the provost and I are ready and willing to hear more and to understand where we can do better, because we know if we can do better, we believe the institution in a collaborative way will also do better. So thank you. And I know the provost is here now, just coming off the other conversation. So thank you for including me in this. I'm really proud of what you've all accomplished this year. There's a lot more to do, and we know that the best is yet to come for our hardworking institution. So thank you.
Thank you so much, President Rosler, for those encouraging words. And now I would like to welcome our FIU's Provost and Executive Vice President, Kenneth Barton, to bring some words of encouragement and advice and sort of set the tone for today's presentation on the COACHE Faculty Survey results.
Great. Happy to do so, Heather. I want to thank you and Caroline in particular for getting the word out about the COACHE survey, which we've had significantly higher responses, and also thank all the members of the COACHE committee and others who have gotten the word out so that the faculty increase their participation. And of course, I want to thank the faculty themselves. You're the ones that did participate in the survey, and really the success of our FIU relies on the success and the well-being of faculty. And as the president stated, both the president and I are long-term faculty administrators, and you know, sometimes I long to get back, you know, into my lab rather than pushing papers around. But we, you know, really do believe that the heart of the university are the faculty. We do listen to the responses of such surveys. It's also important to hear about the issues and concerns that come up. And we like to hear praise all the time, but that's rarely going to happen. But I can promise you that when we hear concerns, we address them. So going back to 2011, the survey revealed that faculty at FIU, particularly women and faculty from underrepresented minority groups, as well as some associate professors, named a lack of mentorship as one of their concerns. And so back when I was still in the College of Arts and Sciences as dean, and Susanna Rose was one of my senior associate deans, we started the faculty mentor program. And since 2016, one of my first actions as provost was to create the Office to Advance Women, Equity, and Diversity, with Susanna Rose heading that up as my associate provost. And we focused on expanding the faculty mentor program to initially to women and underrepresented groups, and then eventually to expanding it to all faculty ranks. And I think those results paid off, because in 2017, the results indicated that faculty were now highly satisfied with the mentoring. And they, however, talked about a lack of clarity in tenure and promotion as a new concern. And so in response to that, we had additional training and workshops around tenure and promotion. And in 2019, we established the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success under the direction of Kathleen Wilson. And she's worked along with Susanna and others to make sure that all the colleges and departments are required to clarify and concretize their tenure and promotion guidelines, which actually just were completed by spring of 2020. And I'm proud to say that these interventions seem to be having positive results, which you're going to learn about. Whereas the faculty survey of satisfaction was only in the, I think there were 5 areas of strength back in 2017. You're going to hear about now we have faculty satisfaction top tier in both peer and cohort institutions on, I believe, 19 of 25 measures, which includes mentoring and tenure and promotion we've worked on, and also now research and service. So this is a huge leap. And we, of course, I'm sure the president's going to say, well, you need 25 of 25, right, Mr. President? But so we won't rest on our laurels, and we are sharing these results with the leadership to examine our existing practices and policies and procedures and implement the changes that we need to keep improving. So I think, I'm very proud of the results. We're very proud of the results that the leadership team has achieved in getting the word out and getting the suggestions and then helping to implement those suggestions. As the president said, our strength is our great diversity, as well as our global mindset. And that's taken us to greater and greater heights every year, to now being one of the top ranked research universities in the nation. But we know that we still have a ways to go, and we look forward to learning some more at this session, and then doing even better in the coming years. So thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you so much, Provost Barton. And now I'd like to have us go back to the PowerPoint and sort of frame what COACHE is and why COACHE. And so, as I mentioned before, COACHE is administered out of the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and it focuses specifically on the work lives of faculty. So what we gather, what COACHE gathers on our behalf is actionable data that we can use to help support academic administrators. And of course, this data is collected in partnership with faculty and administrative leaders. And the emphasis is therefore on using the data to improve the academic workplace. And so we will talk about some specific examples of things that have already taken place, and also what the 2020 results tell us that we need to be working on, what we're doing well, and what are some of the areas for improvement. Next slide, please. So for our 2020 survey, we were compared across 10 institutions that are part of the cohort. We've actually participated in COACHE for the last, for 4 times since 2011. So I guess about the last 10 years. And what COACHE does is that it measures where we fall in terms of 25 benchmark areas. And Caroline is going to drill down a little bit more specifically into what those are. In this past survey, we sent the survey to, COACHE sent the survey to FIU full-time faculty, including tenured, non-tenured, and clinical faculty, excluding, of course, the Herbert Wertheim College of Medicine, but we are administering a separate survey there. And so the results this year are sort of quite comprehensive, and I think give us a pretty good snapshot and picture of where faculty lie in terms of their areas of satisfaction and some challenges as well. Next slide. So first of all, you know, when Caroline and I were going around talking to faculty and trying to get buy-in, the first question was, well, why should we do this? This is just another survey, and we don't ever get to see how surveys are used, right? You know, why should we expend this time? And so, you know, it was really important for us to speak specifically about how we have, in fact, used the COACHE survey. The Provost spoke just now about the results of the survey, which presented mentoring as an area of concern. In 2011, that first survey that was administered was an initiative of Provost Doug Wartsock at the time. And so since then, we have seen marked improvement in terms of mentorship. And as the Provost mentioned, OWID was established in 2016. And so what we'll see as we move through are the ways in which the establishment of the Office to Advance Women, Equity, and Diversity, and then later the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success have really intervened to help to improve the lives of our faculty and their experiences here. Next slide. So how do we explain our major improvements? And as I said, Caroline is going to go into sort of what the results actually say, but as the Provost mentioned, we improved in several areas. And so, you know, part of the purpose of COACHE is to demonstrate how past survey results help to drive policy and certain Provost initiatives. And so some of the initiatives that have come out of the Office to Advance Women, Equity, and Diversity are, of course, the Faculty Mentor Program, which sort of predated that, as we mentioned. But then we have, of course, the Bystander Leadership Workshop, which works to train faculty to identify bias and to figure out how to intervene in instances of bias. The STRIDE hiring workshops, strategies and tactics for increasing diversity and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the acronym. Anyhow, to increase our diverse and excellent candidates. And so as we know, many of you would have done this training, and if you sat on certain screen committees, you would have had to do STRIDE training. The diversity advocate training, again, you know, all of our committees have on them certain screen diversity advocates who go through training to ensure that we are bringing a very representative group of candidates. And of course, the STRIDE Tenure and Promotion Workshop, the Faculty Leadership Institute. Since 2016, 72 faculty have received equity raises because of the advocacy of the Office to Advance Women, Equity and Diversity. And then of course, many of you would have been involved in, or at least know of, both the college and the departmental diversity plans that have been developed over the past couple of years, which set very specific benchmarks and targets for increasing not just diversity, but also inclusion and access. And of course, the appointment then of equity advisors, of Caroline, as my co-chair, serves as one, and there are two others, and I believe there are more to come. So, there's been a lot of activity since 2016. And Caroline, if you could move to the next slide. Many of you have been very actively involved and participated in these various activities and workshops and so on that are available for us. So if we think about all of the opportunities that are provided by OWED, 1,419 faculty members have participated in an OWED program. That's out of, we have a total number of faculty of around 1,800. So we're talking about 80% of our faculty who have availed themselves of the faculty focused programming, and that faculty focused programming has very much been driven by what it is that you have told us through the coach results in the past, and what are the kinds of things that you need us to attend to. Doesn't mean that there's not a lot more work to do, but it does mean, I think, that we're on the right track and on an upward trajectory, certainly in terms of faculty involvement and an awareness of the very critical issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I think we can all agree are incredibly timely and perhaps no more critical in history than they are at this current moment. Next slide, please. So all of the aforementioned is to say that your voices, do count. The Office of Faculty Leadership and Success, as we mentioned, has been very, very active in terms of presenting chairs, leadership workshops, right? So issues around faculty governance, where we see faculty feeling a little bit more involved with setting policy at the departmental level. That has been critical. The revision of tenure and promotion guidelines, the provost mentioned that there had been some faculty mentioned confusion around tenure and promotion guidelines in the 2017 coach results. Since then, through the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success, there has been a push to revise the tenure and promotion guidelines, which were just passed and have gone into effect. And departments are also working on finalizing their tenure and promotion guidelines so that they give much more specific guidance to faculty about what the expectations are for them to be tenured and promoted. Bylaws, also bylaw revisions, as well as the differential assignment policies, are also areas where the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success has been leading us, guiding us to ensure, again, that faculty are protected, that there is equity, that things are clearly spelled out, that there's no confusion around these issues, and that there is, as an equal, playing field for all, which is really what is the goal. So for the next phase of our presentation, I'm going to turn it over to Caroline, who's going to talk specifically then about what have been the 2020 results. So we've seen what has come from prior results and some specific action steps and some specific policies and procedures and so on that have been put in place, programming that's been put in place as a result of what we found out before. Well, what do we now know? What is the 2020 survey telling us? And so Caroline, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Heather. Now that I hope that we've reassured you that participating in the survey results in programs and initiatives that help improve faculty satisfaction, let's look in more detail at what this year's survey told us. The survey was rolled out to faculty of all ranks, including on tenure track, in January and February and into early March of 2020. The results are from essentially pre-COVID, as the survey closed right around the same time that FIU went to remote work, and the Harvard Graduate School of Education, the COACHE Collaborative, actually did careful analysis of the nationwide results from universities that had responded pre and post COVID and found that there was no statistical difference. So I just want to reassure you that these results are sort of from pre-COVID and everything seems to be okay. So what the COACHE survey does is it rolls out groups of questions, sort of 3 to 8 questions in what they call 25 benchmark areas that I will show you on the next slide. These 25 areas or themes, they try to cover sort of all aspects of faculty life. It is a nationwide survey. There are 110 institutions that do participate. And so it's a comparative survey. We are compared to the 110 institution cohort, which is available on the COACHE website, the Harvard COACHE website. We also choose 5 institutions to be our peer institutions, and we are compared to them as well. And they're listed here on the right side of the slide. So this time around, we chose George Mason University, the University of Arizona, UC Davis, UCF, and University of Texas, Austin as our 5 peers. Now, from the 25 themes, those benchmarks, if we scored first or second among our peer group, and also in the top 30% of the cohort of 110, so top third for both, that is considered to be a strength for us. Conversely, if we scored in the bottom 30% of our peer and cohort, that is considered to be a concern benchmark. So those are the areas that we want to be able to identify and address. So the pie on the left shows you the results from the 2017 survey, where we had 5 areas of strength, which we will show you in a minute, and the 2 areas of concern, which, as mentioned earlier, were tenure expectations and tenure policies. You can see that in 2020, we now have 19 areas of strength and only 1 area of concern, that is divisional leadership. All right. We now have, I think it's 5 sort of what we consider neutral areas. So these are areas that we could look at as well. Our response rate was 46%. That is up 6% from 2017. So we are very happy to be hearing more faculty voices. So we thank you very much for your participation. Our response rate was also 1.5% higher than our peers. So again, more voices, much better. So here, sorry about the wall of text. There wasn't a better way to present the information. Again, the box on the left are the benchmarks. The benchmarks are the same for both 2020 and 2017. It's just how they came out on comparatively. So you can see, right, that in 2017, our 5 areas of strength, and in 2020 are 19 areas of strength. So we've added a whole bunch. We still have areas that we can work on improving, and our area of concern this time around is, again, divisional leadership. So here are some of the numbers. It's a very a complex and very complete data set. There's a lot to be pulled out of it still. So these are our sort of initial overall results. Faculty are asked as part of the survey to identify what they consider the best aspects of working at FIU. They are able to sort of rank a list, and quality and support of colleagues came out. Academic freedom, which I think is so essential to an institution like ours, and diversity came out. So those are sort of what all of our colleagues think are the best aspects of working here. 76% of us are satisfied or strongly satisfied with FIU as a place to work. That does put us in the top 30% of our peer group. And 71% would choose FIU if we had to do it again. Again, working in our department, we're quite satisfied with our departments, and we are very happy with collegiality. Collegiality came out as one of the strongest strengths from this year's survey. We enjoy working with our colleagues. So 3/4 of us are satisfied and feel that we fit well. And we think that our colleagues are helpful and pitch in when needed. So this was all very nice news to see for me. I was pleasantly surprised. On diversity and inclusion, which is certainly something that has become more in focus this year, our Latinx and Black faculty satisfaction scores were in the top for 92% of these measures compared to our peer group and cohort. So that was, again, somewhat reassuring. It doesn't mean that we don't have room to improve, we do. But at least we seem to be doing better than some of our peers. Our female faculty satisfaction was in the top for 80% of the measures in the survey, again, compared to our peer group and cohort. Regarding support and commitment, 81% of all faculty agree that there's visible leadership for support of diversity. And remember that this was early last spring. 85% of all faculty are aware of the Provost's commitment to faculty diversity, equity, inclusion through the AWED office and the advanced grant. 80% of all faculty think that their colleagues are committed to diversity and inclusion, and 71% of all faculty are aware of our programs to prepare women for leadership positions. When we dig a little deeper into the data, we do have some areas of improvement. When we look at our underrepresented faculty, those numbers drop from about 80% to about 75%. So we have some improvement that we can do there. I'm going to turn it over here to my colleague, Heather.
So as indicated from the results, we had one major area of concern. And by area of concern, it means that we're in the bottom 30% of our 110 benchmarked universities, or 5th or 6th among our peers. And that had to do with divisional leadership and specifically at the dean's level. And so questions were asked in terms of the following: pace of decision-making, stated priorities, communication of priorities, and ensuring faculty input. And so the ratings were based upon how faculty responded in these areas. And as you can see, the breakdown of the colleges that were represented are broken down into high, medium, and low, which represent where colleges sort of fell in terms of their scores along these various areas. And so, you know, we're still, of course, analyzing the data. Caroline, if you could go to the next slide. So, you know, we wanted to, though, make sure that we could report to you that we have begun to think about how to use the results. And so we had a meeting with Provost Barton, and he is meeting with deans to discuss survey results, results specific to their colleges. In addition to that, starting in this past fall 2020, deans were required to attend STRIDE tenure and promotion workshops. And so again, ensuring that deans are fully aware of, you know, what are things like implicit bias, what are some of the complexities around race and gender and other kinds of things that that need to be brought to the fore and to be thought through in terms of making decisions, those critical decisions around tenure and promotion. So how do we, what are the best practices for supporting faculty and for evaluating faculty? And then in terms of the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success, we're working now with Kathleen Wilson to develop support for effective faculty governance within colleges. And so that was an area of concern. Again, just got the results, we're digesting them. It is a very huge data set. And so we will certainly be following up as we have in the past. As you could see, right, we got the results, things took some time to roll out. We want to do things in a meaningful way. And that will be the case where this is concerned as well. If you could go to the next slide. Actually, I'm turning it over to Caroline.
Thank you, Heather. Because we only had one area of concern, we've just covered that. So we're going to look at a few of the neutral areas, the gray ones in the benchmarks, and one was tenure policies and expectations. I will tell you that out of the sub areas in this category, there was quite a bit of improvement on several of them. We have simply pulled the 3 here that show that we still have some work to do. So those were clarity of tenure criteria and of tenure standards. Between 30 and 36% of faculty reported that these were somewhat or very unclear. As we mentioned earlier, the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success has been spearheading the drive to revise the tenure and promotion manual and to have departments write down and clarify the tenure criteria and tenure expectations. Messaging about tenure, 42% of faculty reported these as somewhat or very inconsistent. So that's certainly an area that we want to look at and address. So these are the actions and initiatives that are either in place or that we are going to be putting into place in the coming year or two. So out of the Awad office, again, tenure policies, expectations, messaging, we can put that into the faculty mentor program, emphasize a little more for tenure track faculty. We would like to remind faculty that the faculty mentor program is not just for tenure track faculty, it is for non-tenure track faculty as well. All are welcome, so please take advantage of it. It's a terrific program. I've benefited from it myself. We are now running tenure and promotion workshops, building off of the Stride hiring workshops that we run. And starting this fall, they have been required for all college, last fall, fall 20, required for all college level tenure and promotion committees. They are now required for department chairs. The reason to include department chairs is because we talk about how to evaluate faculty, and that's very important. Based on the results of the survey this year, we think that we will expand to offer workshops for department level committees as well, as we've started to get requests for that, and we're happy to do that. Out of the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success, again, they have led the drive to revise the tenure and promotion guidelines at the university level, and they're in the process of working with departments to develop TMP guidelines to go into their department documents. All right. I'll turn it back over.
Thanks, Caroline. One of the other neutral benchmarks that we discovered was clarity in terms of the promotion from associate to full. And I can say, sort of anecdotally, we kind of expected this, and some of our notions were confirmed. And so 36% of faculty reported that they were unclear about whether or not they would be promoted, that 28% were unclear about the time frame for promotion, and another 27% were unclear about the clarity for the clarity of promotion standards in terms of the move from associate to full. We do anticipate, and we can go to the next slide, Caroline. We do anticipate that the work that has already been done and is being completed this academic year in terms of departments clarifying their tenure and promotion guidelines will go some way to mitigating some of the confusion. But we feel like we want to drill down a little bit deeper. We need to know more about, what are some of the barriers. We know some things anecdotally, but we need to get more data. And so the Office to Advance Women, Equity and Diversity and the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success will be partnering to do the following, to do some analysis of overall of time in rank, right? Again, statistically, we know on a national level that women faculty, faculty from underrepresented groups, if they, get to the associate professor level, often stay there, oftentimes because they're saddled with extra service work that doesn't necessarily historically get counted towards promotion and so on. And so there are things that we need to figure out. So that analysis will be done. And then as we do the analysis for time and rank, investigate what are some of the other perhaps hidden barriers, things that we haven't even thought about, then we will have that drive programming. So both enhancing some of our existing programming. We do, of course, as you know, do tenure, the tenure and promotion workshops, as Caroline just mentioned. But are there other areas to sort of enhance that focus on associate professors that will be useful and helpful to ensure that that we do develop a culture of promoting our associate professor faculty to become full professors? Caroline?
Thank you. So the third neutral benchmark that we are looking at came out in Nature of Work research. There were 3 areas of nature of work teaching, nature of work service, which were both areas of strength, and nature of work research, which was a neutral area, which meant we were in the middle third compared to the cohort and our peers. All right. So again, here, support for obtaining grants, 42% of our faculty were somewhat or very dissatisfied with that. And for maintaining grants, it was 46% that were somewhat or very dissatisfied. And the overall support for research, 41% of faculty were somewhat or very dissatisfied. So again, this is an area we can look at and see what we can do to help support faculty in their research. So the idea, again, actions and initiatives about how to address this is, again, partnering between AWED and the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success to develop faculty workshops, expand faculty workshops on proposal and grant processes. We know that some of these are already being offered, but this would be more to support them in planning their career path, planning their research path, and helping them navigate the university's processes as well. All right. We can look at developing probably a webpage of easy to find resources for faculty who are looking for support in obtaining and maintaining their grants. The information is out there, but maybe having, sort of a one-stop shop with links would work. And again, this is a very rich, complex data set with a lot of data. There are over 100, 200 really, pages of results, statistical spreadsheet type results that we are still in the process of analyzing. So we plan to do further analysis to identify specific concerns to see where we can address that issue. All right. So I apologize for the slides. So Heather?
So we just wanted to sum up where we are before we turn it over to Dr. Rose and Dr. Wilson for some additional comments. And the first is that, you know, we had a huge improvement from 15 to 19 strengths out of 25 in the past 3 years. Does that mean we rest on our laurels? No, in no way. Do we feel like, you know, we have this all, you know, wrapped up. There's a lot more work to be done, but there are some things that we know are working well, and we want to make sure that we send a message to all of our senior leadership of, you know, the importance of the work that's being done, particularly by the Office to Advance Women, Equity, and Diversity and the Office of Faculty Leadership and Success. And then, you know, we know that there's, in terms of the work that needs to be done, we will be working on developing more specific strategies in terms of addressing issues around divisional leadership, continuing to provide and concretize tenure and promotion clarity, and in particular to drill down and focus on how we can increase the success rate and the number of faculty who are currently associate professors so that they can be promoted to full professor with success. So we wanted to say that we appreciate your participation. None of this would be possible without your participation. I want to also say thank you to Provost Barton for continuing to support this initiative. It is a critical initiative that is by faculty, for faculty, about faculty. It's for us. And so we want to thank you for your leadership, Provost Barton, in supporting this. You know, the positive news, our response rates were up by 6%. I want to again thank our faculty university-wide team for going to each of the departments and making the plug to get participation up. We want you to know that your voice has been heard and will absolutely be used to guide future work. So if you have ideas, if you have things that you want to share with us, feel free to email us at coach@fiu.edu. Please know that further results will be posted at coach.fiu.edu coach.fiu.edu and on our website. And so, so you can both email us as well as check out the website, which will have further information and about the results. And with that, you know, look for the next survey in 2023. I'm super excited to see, you know, where we will have arrived by then and what those results will tell us. And so without further ado, I am very pleased to welcome and introduce our Associate Provost Kenneth Wilson and our Provost, Associate Provost Susanna Rose to make further comments.
Thank you so much, Heather. I really want to thank Caroline Simpson and Heather Russell for doing such a superb job at ensuring there was a good response rate to the faculty survey and to putting this very good report together. And thanks to all the faculty that participated as well. We do think that some of the program we've done in Allwood, in addition to what we've collaborated with Kathleen Wilson on, has led to some of these positive results. I was very gratified that more than 2/3 of the respondents were aware of our programs, such as the mentor program, our networking event for Black faculty, which we call In Search of Solidarity, and the Stride and Bystander workshops. So thank you for coming to those things and making them such a rich experience. You know, all of our programming is offered across departments, and we think that this intermingling of faculty and this intellectual discussion that happens during the workshops leads to a greater sense of belonging and community here at FIU. So we hope it is an avenue for you to get to meet some other people outside of your department in college. So that contributes to the depth of our understanding of the intellectual mission of the university. I really also appreciate the support of the provost, who really deep in his heart still considers himself a basic faculty member, and he has always been very supportive of faculty concerns. And of course, he has, funded all these opportunities for faculty. So he has been very important to providing this space for faculty, which includes the physical space here in PC 230. If you haven't been over here, we have, well, right now, COVID, you're not here, but we do have space where faculty can hang out or have meetings. I'd like to especially also thank the many faculty members that have served as the faculty facilitators for our programs. Just this year alone, we have 20 faculty that meet every 2 weeks to develop the materials, to do the reading in the social science literature concerning diversity issues, faculty performance, faculty mentoring, and come up with the ideas that we implement in order to provide professional development opportunities for you. So the faculty fellow positions here and the facilitator positions are also ways to, broaden your own expertise and diversity and inclusion issues, and meet some great faculty and colleagues, and develop another, team of people that share your values. So if you're among the faculty that haven't participated yet, I hope to see you soon. And if you have been coming and you have ideas for new programming we can do, please be sure to let me know, or write to coach@fiu.edu, and we're happy to talk to you and see how we can influence your life. We do recognize that a lot of what faculty experience might be unique to their situation. So some of the more generic programming might not deal with your specific situations. I talk to a lot of faculty one-on-one and help them brainstorm about their situation. So we know that each of you is unique, and so not everything is going to necessarily benefit you directly. So we are happy to influence whatever outcomes we can that are favorable, because we invest a lot in you. We want you to stay and we want you to succeed. Thank you very much. And I'll turn this over to Kathleen Wilson.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. So I know we're doing a lot of thank yous, but this was a tremendous effort. And Caroline and Heather went so far as to go all the way to Harvard to figure out best practices for getting you involved. So I want to thank them specifically. And then the team of leaders that went out into their departments to promote this. And to all of you who participated, and those of you who are here today. So I do appreciate that. To Susanna, she and I have worked very closely together. We become aware of issues and we try to get on it as quickly as we can. And I deeply appreciate all the programs that are coming out of AWED. I very much appreciate the Provost support, not only by establishing the AWED office, but the Faculty Leadership and Success Office. I will say I had an unusual connection with COACHE in that when I was faculty fellow in 2014, I wrote the executive summary, and the most striking positive aspect of that report was Susanna's mentoring program. And so I thank the provost for allowing us to expand it, because we've seen how important that is. And then the other thing, one of the things that you've noticed was an improvement was faculty governance. So I would like to thank my colleague Jörg Reinhold as chair of the Faculty Senate and the other officers of the Senate, because I think in the last 7 years, we've made great strides in promoting and supporting faculty governance. So lastly, I'd just like to thank the two people in my office, Yeshim Darici and Marcy Kravik, who've been working very hard on getting these differentiated assignment policies and bylaws and promotion and tenure documents together. So we are now open for questions. Caroline, I'll turn it back to you as the moderator. How about that? You and Heather.
We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A that we're happy to address now. There's a question about if we can break the results down by appointment type. As I mentioned before, the data set is extremely rich. We get results broken down by both rank, as you can see here, and by demographics. So this is just an example of the response rate, but we have results on all of the questions for all of the benchmarks. And remember, there's like 3 to 5 questions, 3 to 10 questions minimum per benchmark for all the faculty, all the tenured faculty, all those at rank of full, associate, pre-tenure, and non-tenure track. Demographically, we have men, women. It's broken down into white, all non-white, Asian, and then faculty of color, which are Latinx and Black faculty. It's a little bit like drinking from a fire hose, these results. So this is why we're going to be rolling out more detailed results on the website. There's no way to cover all of this in a webinar. It's just literally not possible, and we'd be here for days. We are still investigating it. So yes, it is. We agree that it's very important to look at this. Some of this data is where we noticed that our associate professors were not quite as happy as some of our other faculty. So yeah, we do have all of that data. And there's one more question in the Q&A, and I will turn that over to Susanna Rose, I believe.
There was a question about the peer institutions. The provost gets the final say on what those institutions are. I identify them as a mix of aspirational institutions, and also 1 or 2 are just a continuation of ones we've had over the years, so that we can sort of like our baseline comparison institutions like the Central Florida and Arizona, for instance. So the choice was not to pick the public metropolitan universities. You know, that was just the choice that was made in the past years. And so we've kind of stuck with that.
And there's one more question in the chat about, yes, the survey did ask you to identify what kind of improvement you would like to see in the future. We do have those results. They include increased support for research and creative work. Sorry, like I said, it's a huge data set.
While Caroline is looking for the results, what I will say is, you know, when we first went up to Harvard to get the training and saw the 27 results for the first time, well, I'll speak for me as the humanities English professor. Yeah, I sort of freaked out. I kind of glazed over a little bit and said, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? But, you know, as we went through the training, things became clear. But it is a very, very large data set, which is great on the one hand, because it means that, you know, it gives us a lot of information that we can really drill down on. On the other hand, it takes a little bit of time to analyze all of the information that the data, you know, gives us.
Yeah, you were asked what was the one thing your institution could do to improve the workplace. Right now, I only have it broken down by broad theme, and they were facilities and resources for work was the top one at 28%. Leadership general came in at 23%, compensation and benefits 18%, nature of work research, which we've discussed, was 17%, and nature of work teaching was at 16%. We do have the data that will let us drill down and find out exactly what areas of those were the most problematic. I have not yet analyzed all 200 spreadsheets. What can I say? We're getting there. We will make sure to keep an eye out for that. So thank you. If there are other questions, drop them in the Q&A. Again, we'll be putting up more and more results on the COACHE website as time goes on, so you can look for that. This webinar is being recorded, as you know, and that will be available. The information on these slides will be up on the COACHE website. A lot of these are already in infographics ready to go. Pedagogically, I've learned to leave way longer than people expect for questions, so I'm just waiting to see if anybody else has anything they want to put in the Q&A.
And I'm sure something will occur to you later, so please just put your question in the coach@fiu.edu, or you could reach out to us individually, but it will be seen by more people if you send it to the email. And I just want to thank Caroline and Heather again for your yeoman's work for this important survey.
Thank you so much, Kathleen.
Well, seeing no more questions.
One just popped up. Oh, it was a thank you. You're welcome. I think for I'm not speaking for Caroline, but I think we have had enough conversations together to where I feel confident in saying that, for us, this is something that we feel really strongly about because we are a longtime faculty, and we know how important it is to ensure that everyone's voice is heard, and we know that we have to be continuously improving. And I feel very lucky to be working under a leadership team that is committed to faculty success. And so, just again to echo Kathleen's request, please feel free to email us if you have thoughts. We will send out an email to let you know that the results have been posted. And this is not a one and done, right? This is an ongoing process. And so, expect there to be, further communication from us. Thank you.
Thank you again. This recording will be available on the coach.fiu.edu website. Seeing no more questions. Again, I also want to thank you for both participating in the survey and for joining us here today. We know it's been a long, busy day. It's the first week of classes, and I hope everybody has a chance to have a relaxing weekend.
And thank you all again for all the amazing work you're doing. And I look forward to getting more requests for more programs soon. So